Okay, nice to be here in a totally different role that I used to be. I will talk about a spin-off from 6. And, but before, it's amazing to be here. It's fantastic to see all the old friends and talk to some people, and I feel good about it. So, I will start this presentation. But it's not like
that happens. These things happen.
Yeah.
So many open PowerPoints. This one is great.
Yeah. So we start with the movie. Yes, very short. So that's what we are doing. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm very, very interested in sports and in tech and in people. So now we're a small company. We're around 12 persons working with this. We have quite a lot of customers now, and we're scaling. But I will talk about technology today. And from my perspective, I just want to tell you where this started, very, very briefly. It started with, in fact, skiing, and we're still in skiing. We started in doing motion analysis. We had a lot of accelerometer data, and I talked to Martin, I remember, how should I do this? And then I talked to Anders, I don't know where Anders is, Anders Holst, about how can we classify and understand this in some automatic way. That's where we started, and here we are now. So it's a quite sort of traveling to go from accelerometer data to a movie like that, and a lot of customers. What I will talk about today is first an introduction. What is the product we're working with? Sort of why and what. Then I will give you some tech insight and some reflections about development of data-driven applications from, our real perspective. So, this is the case. You see a lot of motivations there. But something that we really have seen now is that in running, a lot of people have problems getting injured. And that is exercises. And all of you that is running, I guess approximately 50% of you have problems, you feel pain when you are running, etc. And a lot of that is for really simple reasons which you can avoid. And that's where we get into the problem of running, besides reaching your goal and all that stuff. So what we have is a personalized coach. So in fact, what we try to do is to take real coaches and put them into a digital package, and you can provide this for a very, very cheap money. So it's about setting goals, and goals could be learn to run. I want to be able to run 2 kilometers, or it could be like I want to do a marathon or something more advanced in a certain time. But it's about going from a current state to some kind of goal, and we help you in this trip. So it's about coaching. And we have a lot of functionality, and I will be a bit fast here because I have clear instructions from Safe here about timing. So. Yeah. And the interesting thing, look at this guy here. He has done 19th Vasalopp, and his 18th Vasalopp, he was like 2 hours faster than he had been before. And then his friends asked him, how could this happen? And in fact, he is one of our customers that really used our technology from a current state to reach a goal. And just by being a bit more intelligent in your training with respect to performance, with respect to injuries, etc., he has a drastic development. This guy is 63 years old. He did Vasaloppet in about 6.5 hours. It's amazing. And when we have done it before in like 8.5 hours. So we have a lot of potential you can release if you have some support. So, from a more tech point of view, what are we doing? This is a picture of, you can say, the structure we're working with in skiing, and we're working together with a partner. In this case, we're working together with Vasaloppet, and we do a product together with Vasaloppet. Of course, you have, see here, it's in the middle. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So you have, in this case, a skier which has dreams, goals, etc., something that he wants to achieve. He has a current state where he is that we can measure. We can understand with quite good precision on what level you are. We have a lot of data from previous Vasaloppet, like results, etc. It looks really, really boring. But it's a lot of information in that. And I will tell you, it's like a gold mine if you start to analyze it. We also performed a lot of studies on previous people that have performed Vasaloppet. Try to understand how did they prepare to get the result. And then we do a lot of correlation and we find out a lot of sort of things that is very, very useful for our coach. And then of course we have a lot of other skiers in our services where we can build prediction models on. And based on all this information, we can build this personal digital coach that make a personal training program. And this training program is updated regularly based on the progress or negative progress, so you always adapt. And now in the next, what we're working with in injuries, for example, is that if you're out running and you report that you have a problem in your knee, for example, you can do a self-report there. We see that you have an imbalance, then we can say that, okay, you should do this and that, or you should contact a doctor or a physiotherapist. But if you sort of just have some ache, you know, everybody's running and having some ache, and I feel I have some ache in my right knee, and you report that. And then we see that it's no problem with you, I mean, you have a good sort of symmetry, etc. Then we can check with you the morning after and ask you, do you still have a big ache in your right knee, as you reported yesterday? And in 95% of the cases, the answer will be no. I think you recognize this. You feel some ache when you're out, but the day after it's not. But if you report that you have an ache the day after, then it's a very big indication that you have a problem. And if you can take care of that problem early, and do some exercises, etc., physiotherapists, then you can sort of keep on running without getting injured. So this is really cool that you try to really follow the users, not just when he is running, but also in between, etc. So, if we look at the coaching we are performing coaching in real time. That means that, for example, when you, I really love skiing, so I must show you. So, for example, if you're doing this kind of double polling, for example, that you get feedback immediately when you ski. And that is the learning situation, where you really learn. If you get the information afterwards that someone said to you, you should do like this, then the sort of effect of the information is less. So the best is if you can give the feedback immediately when you sort of can acquire it. And I will show you an example. So that is real-time coaching. Then we have like online coaching. Online coaching is like, for example, if you look at, take this example of injuries again. Injuries, you can't see that in one single stride. Maybe if you break your leg, but then you will know it yourself. But for example, if you have a trend of imbalance coming over time, it could be due to that you're running on a road that is leaning a bit, and then you will detect this after a while, and then you see, now it's getting dangerous. Then you can give the information based on some calculation over time. And then, of course, direct after a session, you can give a lot of information. And in between session, as I mentioned, with this injury case, you ask the runner the day after, for example, do you still have this problem with your right knee? So it's on different levels here. And of course, this is about in between session. We do a lot of different things. We have services for doing analysis of races. And where you connect sort of your own feeling of the performance with what you really did. And then you also learn a lot. And that's quite fascinating what you can see. Something more interesting reflections. I don't think we have so much time. Sorry. It's not that. Yeah. One of the most important technical issues or user experience issues is providing relevant coaching information to the user. And with relevant, it's precise information at the right time that makes sense. We have had during the days and still have, we have so much information, and you want to say so much. And we can provide KPIs for almost everything, but it makes no sense for the user. So for example, I will show you here. Here we have a guy that is doing double polling. We read his sensor data, how his body is moving. So this is a real-time service. We read sensor data, we do some filtering in real time, we do motion classification in real time, so we know what kind of motion he does. We calculate metrics, and it's how this person does his motions. And from these metrics, we can calculate some higher order metrics, we can personalize it, we can analyze it. And in this case, we analyze it in the case that you're standing a bit too much on your heels when you are double polling. So that's the information we got from all this, sensor data. And then we want to do a recommendation to the guy saying you should push your hip forward and stand more on the forefront of your foot. And in this case, is this information relevant? It's very specific. It's in the right time. But it's missing something. It's missing dynamic information. Because the first time you get this information, you become very, very happy. It's really, really good. And then you try to get your hip forward a bit, standing a bit more on your forefoot. And but if you get that message over and over again, then you feel it's not very intelligent. You want to also add in this feedback, of course, some kind of measure that shows that you're progressing. So that is the dynamic part that really shows intelligence. So I just wanted to show you that because that's an own observation, of course. We were really happy doing this kind of super analysis, and then, okay, we are missing something. Of course, we have added. So that's the way typically it looks like. So this is really data-driven feedback. Now I will be from a more reflection point of view. When you develop these kind of applications, I think you have a lot of data, of course, but you need to combine domain knowledge with analytics, with, in this case, we call it manifestation or interaction or visualization or sound or whatever it is. But it's in the intersection things happen. It's no idea to just have data and put some person that is super skilled in analytics. It doesn't create any value. You have to combine it. And I think the key for us is to really combine this. And I have been really happy in the sense that I had knowledge in the domain and could combine it with a lot of technology. But we see the problem now when we're getting a lot of people on board that maybe is only here. Or we have people like in injuries, we get people on board that only knows physiotherapy. How do we sort of get that into services? And I could talk 1 hour about that. So this is one simple. Then I skip this. One thing is that I think, I don't skip it, but I think in the middle, you need some kind of value architect. I think it's so important because you combine a lot of competence to create value. It's not only about data science or, marketing. You need to combine it. Yeah? They're pushing me now. But they was starting 1 minute later. So yes, if you look at this, technical edge, statistics, machine learning, optimization, heuristics, decision trees, and interaction. That's what we were in combining that into a system. That is value. Thanks.